And we are back. Morning, people. A little bit later than usual today, but here we are. Gonna be taking a look today at part 1 of Meet the Guys. This is on the Surviving YSL channel. So we have Juror 225, 387, 508. Juror 56 is going to be in the building today. And there's another juror who I don't know what his number is, but we're going to be finding that out here soon. So I'm just going to hop right into it. It's going to be a bit of a quick stream today because, of course, we all have things to do today, preparing for the big day a couple of days from now. So let's just go ahead and get into it. I'll be stopping very minimally today. Just to make quick comments. All right. Before we get going, let me say good morning. Grand grinding to Paulette, to Aretha, Unique. Know y'all always with us. Nishi, Sean, grand grinding. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Here we go.
Hey y'all, welcome back to our channel. Before we get started, we just want to say thank y'all so much. Y'all have really been showing out with the love. We had no idea that y'all were so interested in hearing what we had to say. We've gotten like 90,000 views on this channel, which is crazy. So we just want to say shout out to y'all because y'all have been supporting. Y'all been showing up and showing out. We got all of the comments. And today we are back to answer a few more of y'all questions. But we got a surprise. We did round up some more of the jury family. So some of the people that y'all want to hear from are here today. So we're going to be having a little family reunion. So we got the infamous Mr. 56, ladies. 56 is in the building. And we got AKA Juror 71. Now look, we're going to tell y'all right now, 71 is a loose cannon. So whatever he says does not reflect the views of Surviving YSL. So without further ado, let's bring them on in.
They got a whole production for us.
How are you all? Hey.
Long time no see. Family.
How y'all doing, man? Here we go.
Thank y'all so much for joining us on our channel. The folks have been wanting to hear more from the jurors, especially 56.
So how do y'all feel about jury of your peers? Now, 2 of these jurors did not make it to the final deliberations. We know 56 did. Not sure about, I think, 71. But what do y'all think about the concept of a jury of your peers? A lot of times we bring race into that. We bring age into it. We bring socioeconomic status into it. When y'all look at this group of jurors, do you feel that the YSL guys have a jury of their peers, at least as far as the 5 people we're looking at right now?
I'm here.
71 will be the newest favorite.
Oh, okay.
We got some questions from out of the comments, and we're just gonna run through. Unless y'all want to start saying anything to kick things off, to introduce y'all.
Mild introductions, if you feel like.
Mild introductions.
I mean, you would defend.
Well, I'm Joy. I'm Juror 56. Glad to be here. Nice to see everybody. It's a family reunion, of course. So hello. How y'all doing?
Before I get started, I do want to say, to the families, the drinks, and laughing at his brother. So I just see that video, and I want to say I can never understand the pain she's going through.
Right.
Because she went through it this time, about 10 years ago, and when her son got killed. When the verdict came out, I get the family distraught, and I felt a certain way. So I could never imagine your pain. One day, maybe us, her, me, we can hook up. Because I feel like right behind that building was a state capitol. That's where a lot of problems can be fixed.
Right.
So they keep a lot of oppression going. They can clean that up so we won't even have to be where we at. We had discussed that a little bit later.
Very
So
good comment.
I'm trying to get back on some happy times.
Very
Empathetic. Condolences. Thank you for saying that because you said every single
his condolences.
Yeah, because I don't want to come out here and not, that's pain. My mother went through something like that. Her brother got killed and there was no justice.
All right, we'll get started with the questions.
Y'all ready?
Oh,
How does it feel to be nice?
I see, never I see.
Let's start back from the beginning. How did you feel about the process leading up to Doomsday, November 1st?
This is for me.
Yeah.
I'll say that process was horrible. It's just horrible. And from the time I remember getting that phone call and actually getting the jury summoned while I was actually at the gym, and then also turn around and that Doomsday was assuming on October the 30th,
November 1st.
on November 1st. That day, not too happy. I was not. I guess my that day, I think you and I were sitting right near each other, right?
Yes,
I think you and I were sitting. Were we sitting side by side?
Selected.
The day we got selected. That day, were we sitting side by side, or were we sitting? We were front row together, and
DU and HR.
yes.
Considering 56 and 71, y'all was going to be close to each other.
Well, yeah, we were close to each other, and my head dropped. That's how I was sitting. My head dropped once that happened. When my number was called, I just put my head down, grabbed my things, and went over to the jury area. But I was not happy that day, so I not just smile for you.
At all.
Now that day, to be honest, I was shocked because there were so many people. I didn't think I was going to get paid. But I wasn't really surprised because if you go to my birthday, if that's how you pronounce it. So I'm losing my voice a little bit. So the things I said there, I'm quite sure the defense picked me. Because they asked me that.
Y'all, the jury selection wouldn't have been broadcast, right? Because then we would know what everybody looks like. So I guess there's a little bit of background that we didn't see.
Police. I trust police. I told them straight up. I said, I'm a black man American. Not all the time. Because I went through my things. I did run the streets like you. I didn't get no felonies or like that, but I did have bad dealings with the police. And they asked about the First Amendment. When I was convicted on First Amendment, I told them straight up, I won't violate the First Amendment. And I said they do raps and the police only know the information and they walk them step by step of the murder, then I'll use that against them. I'm not going to, because you're going to arrest them on First Amendments. Lock us all in.
They'll get up right.
So y'all, quick thing. Of course, y'all know I've said, and I said it yesterday, I've said it many times, that I do think lyrics can come in. It is correct that they can come in under limited circumstances. And frankly, what Juror 71 is showing here is that we need to have more faith in our jury. If we have a jury of our peers, if we believe that people care about their own rights, I mean, he said it himself. Look, I'm not going to throw somebody in jail just for something that they said on a rap song. So are there any, I believe there's one example that I can think of somebody getting locked up based off of lyrics, and that was overturned on appeal, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look into that. But there's no rash or wave of people getting locked up just based solely or primarily on something they said on a song. So as far as I'm concerned, using these lyrics might have even hurt the prosecution. And Juror 71 seems to be indicating that not only did it not help, but it might have hurt. It might have hurt the case.
They already got that deal. They got that deal. That's why they have the RICO charge.
Listen, it's not a complete representation of all of the YSL. It's the names that against all of us.
said that. I'm very outspoken.
Just to remind you.
Very outspoken. Very outspoken.
These were the two that were going head to head in the jury room all the time. They both outspoken. It was some very interesting conversations between the two.
If I had to speak like Jasmine Crockett, is that her last name?
Yes.
That was, I'd be a beast just like. I learned to speak like this. She speaks well. She shut it down. And I am a little political. A lot of things. Yes, a lot.
Okay. I will take a lot.
A lot of oppression, because there's a lot of oppression
Right.
that created the situation that we had.
Right. Correct. Let's see. Were there any lasting friendships made over the course of the trial?
Lasting friendships, of course. We're all, we go here. This wouldn't be. And they're also,
I slick think that you like 387 more than 225. We'll have it because
Right. We got y'all can have each other.
like us.
But yeah, a lot of lasting friendships. So it was an interesting group. Getting to know everybody's personalities. I'm the most diplomatic person that everybody can tell, even though we disagree a lot of times. So. But at the end, I'm very diplomatic. However, but we're still family though. There's always that one person that has to, bring everybody together just a little bit, even though.
And that was you?
Well, sometimes.
Your AirPods were working.
We have a serious side, believe it or not. Very serious side.
We don't know.
But I have a party side, which I know I like that.
Oh, we know.
So I'm the ones who had a barbecue, and Miss Love is not invited. She didn't come to the back room to speak to us. I have respect for everybody else on the stage, just because we didn't agree with you.
Right.
I mean, I don't have no respect for you. But Miss Love, come on, Miss Love.
So y'all, Miss Love didn't even go thank the jury after the verdict, y'all. Is there any explanation for that? Is there any reasonable explanation? She was there for the verdict, right? And she didn't even go thank them. And shoot, I would want to ask them questions if possible. I don't know if that's appropriate at that time, but I would want to say, hey, what did we do wrong? What would you recommend for the next time? She didn't even go ask them any questions. And even worse, she didn't go thank them, according to what they're saying. It's just, I don't understand it. All right, that just jumped.
Okay, let's see. Which day of the trial stuck out to you the most? I got a good idea. I know y'all answer.
I know this is my height.
What is it?
The Magic City.
What? Oh, the Magic City stripper. The time they show the strippers in court.
Magic City video is probably yours. The best.
I paid the fifth.
Homie like seeing them tatas in court.
Did you have a favorite?
What's your favorite? What was your favorite?
My favorite day.
They have a favorite day, huh?
Yeah, I think the whole world knows your favorite.
No. Just a little inside.
A little inside joke. That's my turn to look at you.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
That's That was actually my favorite day.
I bet it was.
It was my favorite day. It was my favorite day.
However, for the sake of the championship.
What day was that?
Oh man.
Al, she wasn't gonna be there. They can't have pointless all of a sudden.
I know I probably went into moment.
You weren't because you got a big mouth. You have to keep it low.
That's why I turned into Chelsea. I'm like,
If anything, I stay behind. You just
It
might
kind of
miss
went
the
over my
conversation.
head. I'm like, oh,
Like, so this is an inside joke where I didn't get
Actually,
it.
my favorite day, though. Actually, it was a favorite day. That's why.
Okay, so
We'll keep that one aside.
December 4th. We'll put it that way. I was saying, we are the whole word for that.
Yes.
It's coming from the person that wasn't ready to go back to work.
No, I said his favorite.
Oh, I was about to say.
Oh, well, yes, of course. December 4th was actually my favorite day. So, besides the other day. So, fun times.
your least favorite day is December 4th.
I was being selfish, y'all. My favorite day is when we had the 2 months.
Oh,
The break.
the break.
The break.
The break.
I mean, I felt sorry for the guys because they was locked up, but
You enjoyed the time.
You enjoyed your time together?
yes.
definitely.
Who was your favorite witness? Oh no, we gonna keep going.
Okay, Woody. Woody.
Is that your final answer?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, well why? Why was Woody your favorite?
Oh, Woody was fun. Now, if they would have had the microphone by the witness, the
Jury box?
jury box, oh, y'all would have heard us laugh. Y'all couldn't really hear it. 'Cause I went back and listened to some. Oh, when Woody was cracking up, we all was laughing hard. I know about the people couldn't hear him on TV. I heard some.
That's interesting to hear that the jury also had the same reaction to Woody as the people at home, which shows that it's a real authentic reaction. Being there and being at home, you have the same or similar reaction. And no wonder Woody's become a national star. By the way, Woody just went and got his driver's license, y'all. So he's turning the page and becoming a legit citizen.
People said, "Was y'all laughing?" Oh, hell yeah, we was laughing. Oh, we was laughing.
That's your final answer?
So Woody,
What is your final answer?
Oh, one more thing, y'all. Woody, was he trying to be funny? I don't think Woody was actually trying to be funny. I think he was just being himself. So that's interesting. I think he might have turned it on or he might have dialed it up a little bit certain times. But I don't think he went in there trying to become a star. You know, I think he's just being himself. And maybe he did realize, oh, so, you know, this is working. You know, this works. And maybe he bumped it up a little bit. But I don't think he was trying to be funny.
Yes.
yeah, Woody, yeah. Woody is a Woody.
Woody.
Woody's
It's Woody. You had it right. Woody.
Woody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Woody is right.
Now, what you call it? He was kind of, what's it?
I was about to say that.
Tick.
Oh, okay.
Tick.
Yeah, the very first week.
Or phone, FaceTime. So yeah, Tick.
He was your favorite.
Nah, he was one of the things.
Okay.
Cause me and him, we was, we got stuck like eyes, talking.
You and the great hair in common.
But other than those two, that was.
Top two contenders.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say the other ones because.
Oh, you're gonna keep it PG-13 probably.
Right.
Yeah.
You're appreciative.
Right.
Honestly, I mean, as crazy as they sound, I actually appreciated looking at all the other witnesses that came on because I saw the authenticity side. Because I'm not from Georgia. And so I was able to learn a lot about what was happening in the city and get people's perspectives. And so I'll say I learned a lot from all the witnesses that the state brought, especially those who they were trying to try against the defendants. So for me, I learned a lot from them just by being with the jurors. That's what kind of helped me gauge my certain decisions on certain things. So because I was able to kind of see their perspective, where they were coming from, and how they were somewhat treated, how the state was treating them. Not saying that they were innocent or guilty, but just the fact of the questioning and the long term we spent days and some weeks as well. And so I didn't like that. So, if I put myself in their shoes, or if I'm being questioned, which I have been questioned many times. I've been sat down in panels before. We've been questioned all the while, especially you too.
Wow.
Right. But pretty much my favorite witnesses were all the ones that came in. Like I learned a lot from them. I didn't know a lot about Atlanta and Georgia as a whole, because I'm not from here. So.
You want to be from that. He would claim Atlanta if he could get away.
I'm a Carolina boy. I'm a Carolina boy at heart from North Carolina. So, North Carolina, not South. North Carolina.
Let's see.
People who know me, they probably figure out their witness.
It may not be hard for the viewers to figure out.
Right.
It might not. We'll see what end up in the comment section.
Yeah. Drop in the comments. Who do y'all think was Unc's favorite witness?
Who do y'all think? Anybody who hasn't seen the comments, because I haven't, and I certainly have not watched this yet either. Who do y'all think was Unc's favorite witness? Y'all think it might have been Viverito? I think they want to say Viverito. Who's Unc's favorite witness, y'all?
Let's see what I saw.
Oh.
That's your final answer?
You're going to find my answer.
We're going to take a look at the comments.
Chicago people, y'all know what it is.
Y'all remind me at the end.
People know what it is. But.
Let's see. Who were you guys' favorite attorneys for the state first?
For the state?
Yes.
I have a problem with Simone.
Okay. So Hilton.
I have a problem with her.
I have to agree. I think she was. I think I mentioned that to her.
She was personable.
Very, very personable. Extremely personable.
I agree with that. She was more personal than love.
No,
I said it earlier. Simone was the most personable of the whole prosecution side, period.
No, at the beginning.
See,
A lot of people tell me that they misread. I need to hear
You hear this?
Right. Come on.
I always no. Honestly, I like people's personalities. I learn a lot. See how people move. But my favorite from the state, I will say, is Mrs. Hudson. I think that she did a great job. I think that I told her that directly to her face when we were all at the end of the court. We were all in the room having private discussions, and I told her directly that she should have tried the case. So yeah, she's probably my favorite attorney. And where you all got the other now, I don't know any of these attorneys, and I don't know Love. I don't know, I deal with passengers every single day, so I know personalities very well. And I see how people move, and I believe the most authentic person was Simone. And I think that I could relate to her.
Yeah.
I believe she went to an HBCU, if I'm not mistaken. I think I did the research afterwards. And so I think she went to an HBCU, and she did it, and I apologize to her, but I think that she was extremely relatable for the whole entire court. She should have been the one trying this case.
So you thought the closing was relatable? You thought that she was...
Well, the closing, she did a good job of closing, but my decision was already made before. I didn't need the closing arguments, but I know that's...
Why do y'all think that is that 225? Why do you think she asked that question in particular? So you think the closing was relatable? That's a very specific question that, in my opinion, denotes either she has heard that people have a different opinion, or maybe she has a different opinion herself. What do y'all think about that? Because she said, so you think the closing was relatable? Like, out of all the things she could have asked about, she asked particularly about the closing.
That's the protocol, that's the procedure. But, I think that she should have been the one to try this case in the very beginning.
She was personal.
Extremely personal.
She didn't take it personal.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So did we find her closing relatable?
I won't say her closing was relatable. I mean, I don't know how to define what's relatable. Closing, to me, it was just a closing argument from both sides. Because to me, I didn't write anything down. I was listening to the closing arguments, but my personal decision was already made before the closing arguments. So regardless of her closing arguments, whether it's from the state or from the defense team, it was just more of she was giving a closing argument. I didn't read it.
I'll take it back off him. Her closing argument said something like pretty much like you. Mine was kind of already made up. You hear it, and I hear what the people said. She been a little sister.
Okay, there you go.
She was like, but I didn't get caught up in it. I just listened to what she said. Because she had changed my mind in there. Where we was at, I think, was too fucked up.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough evidence. Just pretty much the evidence just wasn't there. And there was nothing she can say or do or relate to get it to change my mind.
I think that's interesting hearing the perspective from Black men, because I think the consensus among Black women was that her closing, she was
Very animated.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But, like, speak from a man's perspective.
Right.
Y'all know this is probably gonna go down as one of the most interesting closings, because Hilton had not shown that level of animation and emotion, and she definitely has shown some urban, if I'm gonna try to find a word, some urban taste, an urban touch, but she hadn't shown that level of animation and emotion throughout the trial that I'd seen. And then all of a sudden she was pop locking up in there. You know what I mean? So it seemed, I wonder if they felt this at the moment or when they went back and heard what other people said. But it sounds like at least the women are saying, no, we saw this in the moment.
I separated that part from what she was saying.
Okay.
So I don't even get caught up with that.
Right.
Because I like to keep a happy life. I just listened to what she said, and was it her reaching? Could have been that. You know what I'm saying? It could have been. I don't know.
Or her just feeling like she just needed to get her point, whatever point it was.
Yeah.
The evidence.
But I didn't have a problem with her. And Love just took that shit personally. I mean, because you know me, I watch all trial long. Everybody, like I told you, I watch everybody. Even Thug. I know Thug probably like, damn, why keep looking? Everybody. I was watching everybody. I watched Love. Love, she catch me, but I stare at her. Trying to catch body language, all of this stuff. So in the trial, she was getting a little upset and angry. Remember?
She wasn't even
When she was leaving, I'm talking about, she did come back. Because y'all know we left the jury room.
Yeah.
I said to y'all, I'm going to watch her face. And I watched her, she did not look at us. Even from beginning to end, she did not watch us.
How did you feel having to move from the front to the back? Because you still see, looking at everybody's faces. You ended up in the back.
You went from front row to
The back.
Okay, so, but I said right there and I could read.
Whoa, they cut that out? Was he about to say why he had to move to the back? Oh, man, I wanted to hear that.
A lot of the jurors been speaking. They shake their faces. The witnesses, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
jurors.
It's okay.
So when I saw the witnesses, you can see them shaking their feet, nervous. Sometimes they don't. When they're not lying, they're a little more
Relax.
yeah. But when they start getting a little antsy, when they getting on them, he started shaking. I breathe. Body language shows a lot.
Right.
So when they put me in the back, I can't see all the little things.
Okay.
So it kind of changed.
That's when you started taking naps.
What about this fetish with these peppermints, huh?
Well, I knew it bothered you. I sat right behind her.
And drove me up the wall.
So whenever I opened my peppermint, I kept peppermints in the back, I kept them. And I opened them real slow and methodical. I stick it right in that teeth.
You just heard of.
Right.
You got everybody.
I'm the one that's always asking everybody, let me get this candy, let me get some peanuts, let me get some chips.
The paper was annoying anyway.
Because
What made it worse is that you can be sitting in and trying to pay attention, and it's this close to my ear to open.
I see in the back room, she talking shit. So-
for all of that.
So right, so we go in the room, she can't go in the jury box, she can't say nothing. So I just gave it to her.
Every day.
Even the judge started watching, like, who making that noise?
Exactly.
Right. Y'all know we're supposed to have snacks in there once we got Whitaker. You over there making up all that noise,
Making the spot hot.
Hey, we get hungry, I gain 10 pounds in this shit.
You eat.
18.
Having too much
But
of
Kim
that.
saying, I don't do this all the time.
Right.
I only eat like this when I'm
It's
shower. Bad man.
Wait, be like 56 next summer.
You got money. You ain't got to have ass. You ain't got to have ass. You got money.
You might gotta work out a little bit, man.
I
I ain't like 56, but I saw I got a little hurt and they said, you fine. Try to get some online love.
Somebody gonna step up. Somebody gonna want that.
Who won Juror 71, y'all?
I think 71
Anybody in
single
chat?
If y'all interested, let us know. Let us know.
Say when you say
I know y'all been
She
having
make
y'all
you
on 56.
What?
Y'all saw that?
71, I don't know.
Y'all saw that? Are you single? Whole time he heard every question. You single? Huh? That's the best answer, guys. You single? Huh? Next question.
Right.
Put it on weighing scale. What we looking at now, ladies?
56 or
Drop it in the comments.
Well, I'm older. I used to work out and kind of look like that too. You know, like I told him, get older, boy, you ain't gonna look like that no more.
I
Some money though.
I don't
Get some money
know.
up, you fine.
I'm close to 40 though, so I'm trying to hold on to it.
Okay.
I know.
Getting up there.
I'm
The way
getting
we eat
up
salads
there.
with that what is it? Olive oil. That's all we eat is dry lettuce and olive oil.
I'm eating
It's
what?
it, ladies.
it might be proper.
What you eat?
It might be proper.
Oh yeah, if you downtown, stop at the Capitol, you got some good lunch and chew lunch.
Whole entire menu.
Taco Tuesday.
Did not miss
Boy.
Now, wait a
Oh,
minute.
man.
Let's say this together. What he gonna put on everything?
Hot sauce.
I kept it in the back. I wired the joint up there. I kept my household. I kept that also.
Hot sauce went on everything, including breakfast.
Yes.
Yeah, it was breakfast.
When they come out and say, put this shit on everything.
Hey, y'all need a sponsor for the Red Hots. Juror 71, your man.
71
Get in contact with him.
for you, yes.
I'll put that on the air.
Another talk about the prosecutors, but what about defense? Favorite later on next time.
Oh, wow. That's the end. Y'all, part 2 is out. Do y'all want to just roll right into that? Hold up. Part 2 is out. Let's go look in the comments real quick and see. I want to see.
I don't know.
This is part 1. Let's take a look at the comments real quick, y'all. You need to do a live. Simone Hilton took the case just as personal. Trust that. We saw it on non-jury days when they were back in the jury room. She lied and misled a lot herself. Hilton was just like Love. She was slick with her mess. I'm officially at the age where I'm looking at nephew and unc, and it could go either way. Oh, excusez-moi. I'm officially at the age where I'm looking at nephew and unc. I would love to know what age. Ladies, what age is it where you're looking at nephew over her and unc over her, and you like, you know, either way? I'd like to know what age that is. Let's see what the replies to that are. Just a lot of laughing. Oh, we got a cosign. This is interesting. Before this trial, I never realized how many songs have references to doing bodily harm to someone. Now when I scream, don't let Love hear you say that or you'll be arrested. You never realized? All of them. All of the rap songs have that. Love hearing from Unc. He's genuine. 56. Oh, Gemini, are you in the chat? This is one of our people. Oh, Gemini says 56 is so handsome, funny, as well as, oh, okay, 56. Yes, people did think he was white. Gemini, one of our people, left a comment. All right, y'all, should we just go ahead and roll into the next part? Well, y'all want to read a few more comments? Let's read a few more. We need a mic. Yes, the mic would have definitely helped with the sound. Oh man, nobody actually. All right, nobody's really giving any. Nobody's dropping any opinions about Juror 71 and 56. I was interested in hearing that. Let's go ahead and roll into part 2. Y'all want to roll into part 2?
I know we talked about the prosecutors, but what about defense? Favorite lawyer on that side?
Oh, Adams, hands down.
Adam's your favorite?
Adams is cool as hell. And then Adams, he real observant. So like I have to tell straight out there, when Adams he'll talk, he smooth, he cool. So then he'll watch us.
Right.
And he'll say, they still right. He look down at his suit shoot, make sure he clean. And he'll watch us right. Then we get putting the ears up, he'll pick up talking.
Right.
We did a lot of writing. But I want to say one thing too.
We did a lot of writing?
Well, I did a lot of writing. So I did hear at the end on one of those internet shows, they said, they call it yak. Like yak, they get personal. It wasn't really so we was personal with them. We was writing for a year. Some of us are writing all year long. It's quicker to write yak 3 letters than Kendrick or Monte.
Right.
So we got used to calling it yak because we had to figure out the name. It took us a couple of weeks to figure out the name.
We got nicknames quicker than we got
Yeah. So instead of writing Monte, you just write yak. So he became yak to me.
Right.
We writing, we trying to keep up with love. Even the court reporter say, "Could you slow down?" I'm like, shit, yeah, but we couldn't say nothing. I was like, right on. I'm writing, I was shorthand. I was got public skill. So I was long-handed on that. So I did more writing than I did since high school.
You had a whole bunch of books.
How many
Boy,
books
I
you
had
had?
about 6 or 7.
Ain't no.
Yeah.
No.
How many did you have? 56?
I had 2 books. I had 2, but my pages were thicker than so.
Yeah.
And
Your pages were thick.
and the other part of it, which everybody hated, was always writing cursive. I still write in cursive to this day from 2nd grade elementary. So that's the reason why I shorthand. That's the reason why I had less books. So.
First and foremost, if somebody should have been a doctor, it should have been 56. He doesn't write in cursive, he just can't write.
Oh, God, it was.
Why would that bother somebody else? How you write?
Ain't nothing in that notebook, but the time we came in, the time we went on break, and the time we got back. So
He was a
he's a timekeeper.
I'm a timekeeper. I was a timekeeper.
It
We was like,
Very, very
what time we leaving today? 56.
Mm-mm.
And then when we got Woody, we was like, I don't know.
I had to gauge Judge Whitaker for a little bit, but she was on point.
Yeah.
She was definitely
Very
on point.
structured.
Very, very structured.
Show them at Glanville.
And Glanville was great too, though. I like Glanville. Glanville was actually really
We just
good.
had a lot of breaks.
A lot of breaks.
I had a lot of breaks.
Yeah.
I had problems.
You didn't have a
I had none of the problems.
Yeah, people did want to know like how we felt about Glanville.
Honestly, I didn't necessarily have a problem with Glanville him the person. No. What I didn't, the drastic differences between him and Whitaker, his level of leniency with the state. If Love probed the question, it could definitely get us an hour in the hole. If Love wasn't too particular with something that was said from the prosecutors, it could definitely get us an hour in the hole. If
What does she mean
she
by
didn't have
that?
something prepared, printed, or stapled and ready to go, we could definitely get put back in the hole. So Glanville's patience with the state, I think, is what drove me nuts.
I had food in the hole.
Well, yeah, Judge Glanville and Judge Whitaker both have 2 different styles.
Yeah.
And we know, and we definitely saw the difference after that switch was made. It took us all by surprise that day we walked in the courtroom. We didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
By 2 entirely different style of judges, how they operate their.
So here we have 56 also saying that for what was it? Almost 3 months. Let me see. No, it was June to July to August. It was 2 months where Judge Glanville was in limbo and then he was gone. They come back and they had no idea that they were going to have another judge. So for 2 months, practically, they didn't hear about Glanville's recusal or anything.
Courtroom, and I respect both of them. One of them was way more flexible. I think that's probably the right word to say. It's flexible. And the other one was a little more structured. And and that's what I gauge, and I think it's good to hear fellow jurors talk about that too, because I guess we're all thinking the same thing. It's actually the first time I should talk about this too, though. I had no idea. That's how you all thought about it. So,
Because when we good to go, have you seen people on heroin before? I know you have. People on heroin, heavy writing or whatever you do, they just stop. And in 5 minutes later, they pick up. That's how I was writing sometimes with Whitaker. She wouldn't give us no time to break. I'd be writing. Go to sleep. I wake up like shit. So I just pick up writing. So I was so she was gonna push it through.
Right, yeah.
She was gonna, I like my time. I was chilling. So I ain't Miss Whitaker.
56 was your favorite prosecutor?
I'd say Adams. It was good to see Adams how he presented his style. And I think that he did a great job, and all the defense did a great job as well. But I think Adams was more relatable. It's good to see him, how he presented. It's almost as though when he gets up there, he retells a story, but it's a story that's hitting the points. And I'm pretty much basically, I like to get face to the point. I hate long-winded things, surprisingly. I know. When my time was going on, we're going on 10 plus months that time. That's when it was like, But he did a good job, and I think that I have to agree with you. Adams did it. Attorney Adams did it. It's a great job as far as his presentation. And
so a number of people have said Adams at this point.
It's good to see people like it out there. So.
Yeah. Only 2 more questions, but what day stands out to you the most? In court, not in our chambers, not behind closed doors, and in the courtroom.
What day sticks out to me more in court?
Yeah, I mean, it could be comical, it could be something that rubbed you wrong.
Any guesses what he'll say for anybody who hasn't seen this yet? Put it in the chat. What do you think is the day that either most sticks out to you, or what day do you think he's going to say? Now, think about it like this. Anything that happened while the jurors weren't in the court, you shouldn't count it. So the whole Brian Steele going at Glanville, that back and forth, you couldn't really count that because they wouldn't have seen it. So what do you think would have been the day or the moment that stuck out most to the jurors for what they saw?
But what day kind of like stands out the most to you?
Not our day.
Nothing to do with behind closed.
What was the Detective Beverito?
At the end?
At the very end?
Yeah.
That's
Which day?
Towards the very end.
So what were your thoughts about RICO?
That's a good question. There's so many things to talk about.
We've talked about it. I'm interested to hear what your thoughts were.
My thoughts, I'll say, I think one word, I'll say disappointment.
Okay.
I think that's probably what I can say, disappointment. For many reasons, which will take a long time to explain. But I was a little disappointed because that right there, pretty much, that was the case. And to see how that was presented, for me, I'm an analytical thinker. It was just, I would have expected from a fair standpoint that things would have connected to some degree. And unfortunately, there was just, the presentation was not as I had expected. So
y'all, one thing I want to say real quick about Viverito, remember, Viverito, she was at the end, and what 56 is saying is that she was supposed to be the grand finale, and he was, and she turned out to be what we might call a letdown, right? So she's supposed to be the grand finale. She was anticlimactic, if we can use that word.
I think that right there, probably, I know it took a long time to get there, but that right there, if you're going to have a key person, then that right there should have, the dots should connect from that time. It's just different.
Gotcha. And for you?
It's for me, so that's why I had 7 books. Cause I had senior moments, so I got
Is it senior or is it because of other things?
senior.
That's
Right. So the guy, I know the guy got shot in. I got two more because his came out just like, wow, like he was missing. You can see it did something to him.
Right, yeah.
And just him sitting there, I was like, that's me up.
That's when you were still in the front, right? So you were right next to him.
Yeah, he was right
in front, yeah.
And because he almost got tripped over the cord and almost fell on the heavy standing and go to the back.
Right.
Just seeing the wound kind of messed me up. The other moment that stood out for me was, I won't remember her name, the one that locked up. Bennett. So it was like,
mother, like the okay, yeah.
Yeah, when they said they broke his apart.
Yeah.
So I know she didn't want her for a witness. This is how they got put at the state, like with this RICO charge, like damn, they just people are not really gonna testify because we know what it is. They gotta live it. So their lives are in danger. So she's sitting up here at one point, she's telling them she's been molested. She don't wanna cooperate, then they got locked up in chain.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we doing this?
On top of when they tried to kind of press her to talk about her mom, she
Right.
said she wanted to stay away from it.
That is so true. Very sensitive.
For
So,
some people.
Yes, I stood out for me just like having compassion for her. I know you're trying to lock her up to make her speak.
Mhm.
And I'm like, we can't just keep doing that with this RICO trial. I mean, I know you want to win the case, but you understand she's still human. She went through some tragic stuff, and she don't want to talk about it. And now you throw her in jail. I don't know if she was just in there for one day, I think.
I think she was there. I think one day. Just one day.
So yeah, so that
But I think
Yeah.
that's also why I think when we asked some of these questions before, she stood out and Montgomery stood out to me. It was the fact that this woman comes in and she tells you, you get idea that there is backstory or things that trouble her from her past, but y'all felt comfortable enough to arrest her. Her child is not situated. You bring her in. You brought up a topic that she told you beforehand she did not want to discuss in mixed company, which should have been respected. You took time out of your life to review text messages that were personal, that wasn't our business, because it had nothing to do with the trial. So asking about New Year's meals or talking about her mom or giving her resources in place to talk to a therapist had nothing to do with what the trial had going on. So
y'all, how often do we treat the jury like they're gonna be like they don't have emotions, they don't have feelings, they don't have empathy? What we should see here is one way I was totally wrong. It appears, at least from these 5 jurors, is that I kept saying the jury's probably lost. The jury's got to be lost. And it does seem like some of the jurors might have been lost as it relates to certain things when they talk about other jurors who we have not had interviews with. But I think I was wrong. The jury was not as lost as freaking as I was. But they were there. They were there the whole time and I wasn't. But I did see a lot of the behind the scenes that they didn't. And so the jury wasn't lost, but also, y'all, I think a lot of people worried that the jury wouldn't just have regular human empathy. And as you can see from all of these interviews that these jurors have done, they have regular human empathy just like we do. They see that the state is arresting people to try to get this RICO conviction just like we do. And also, they see the lack of evidence so that all of this is interpreted in the light of y'all don't even have the case. Like, you're doing all this because you don't have the case. So, I think this should restore some level of faith in the jury system. People might have had a little bit of trepidation and fear. I think this should at least say, okay, yeah, you know what? You can get a jury. They're up on it. They're not going to be easily tricked. They're not going to be easily swayed. And they have empathy, not only for the people who are sitting in jail, but also for the witnesses who are being mistreated.
didn't understand the need to make it as personal as it was.
It got so personal that it went to the extent that they were saying one of the DAs tried to have relations with her.
Right.
I was like,
She
no.
said he
This
molested. She said
Not molested. He was
Sorry,
aggressive.
sorry. She said he aggressive.
He crossed the line.
So-
He crossed the
Yeah.
line.
It was
With
just
the
a gray
text
area.
messages and
Yeah.
calling
Being
it,
inappropriate.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I was like, hold on, is this a trial or are we converting over to jail? Really show. Is this a movie pitch?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It stood out to me also
Pretty
with
much.
her. I remember when they were talking about her, speaking to somebody about her mental health, and they asked her, what did they say? Like, what did the person that, when you talk to the crisis person, what did they say to you? And as a social worker, I literally was like, my breath was taken away, because how could you ask somebody, like, that's none of your business? Why would you even like bring that up? So that definitely turned me off from the state. Just that line of questioning, I just couldn't believe that they even took it.
Yeah, her and Montgomery were definitely my two, and not like favorites because like who they stood out of was something comical, but it was just like it painted the state to me as a monster. Because it's like, why is this necessary? You can still prove your point and get your points across, but it gotta be a better angle than making it this personal. So like even with Montgomery, I did not like, and I think I snapped when we went back in the room.
Mhm.
After they took Montgomery out, you had us leave so y'all could clean the chair.
Oh yeah, you did.
I snapped.
You did.
As many drunk people as come in here to deal with this and smell drunk profusely. Like out of your pores, you smell like alcohol and we can smell it. As many people who come in here, same clothes twice, or transported from the jail, or anything else. Nobody has taken time to cough, to sneeze, the mask. Nobody has taken the time out to move the witnesses out and wipe down the chair or the stand on the podium. But a person that you're supposed to be protecting or concerned to get him justice because he was under the impression that he was there because of his trial, and getting the people who were responsible for him being shot. If you knew the condition that he was in, why didn't nobody help? Last time I checked, eczema is something that speaks internally. So you could have made sure he was drinking water and moisturizing and having a balanced diet and things like that. To move us out, to put on gloves, to wipe down chairs, you need Lysol. I was livid. I didn't.
I got a question too, since we're talking about witnesses. I know this isn't on the question list, but I saw this in the comments. What were y'all thoughts on the first 48 detectives? Because I had forgot.
Which one?
Wait, what are the names of the detectives that were there from the first 48?
I remember the Hispanic guy, don't remember his name, with the
Yeah.
comb over.
That's so the
Velasquez,
yeah.
And then you had the black guy who thought he was too cute for school.
That's the one that.
moments.
Oh, which one was that?
I see him on
Which one was that?
He's too cool, black guy from here. I think he started off like game detective or something. He helped
He was the one that was with B,
I don't-
right?
I don't
That was
understand.
with
Just
B,
took him out.
and he was cussing and all that stuff, like he was recording his
Yeah.
conversation with B in the car.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was really
It's
animated.
very.
Very animated.
That's what I remember
Could've been
asking.
out.
Yeah, I remember asking because I couldn't see, and I was like, "Did he got his own cameras?" Because people recognized him from First 48, and I was like, it felt like he was acting. He was putting on like his own show was being recorded. I'm like, why was he up on the stand?
That's how you talk.
That's how he is.
That's how you talk. So I
David
respect he good. Man, good.
Quinn.
So about the David Queen, cool, smooth. But see, the things about this trial with First 48, they wasn't doing a trial for the RICO. They was doing an individual trial for that person, for that case. So what the state did, they just grabbed this, and just kind of followed them all up. They didn't follow up no investigation for RICO. They just put it together.
Excellent point by 71. I mean, he literally just hit the nail on the head. They did not do a RICO investigation from the beginning. What they did was take a bunch of individual investigations and, like Play-Doh, stuck them all together, pressed it real hard and say, look at this RICO we found. I mean, that's exactly that was what we all said. Look, these should have been tried individually. You might have gotten some real convictions out of this. But once you stuck it all together with this RICO thing, you created a monstrosity.
And said, let it stick. And they didn't get that jury they wanted back. So they took a lot of the, we're going to take this one, this one, this one. Like the federal government, what they do, they got more money. They take all the cases, and then they would do their own investigation and follow up and try to get more information to make a RICO trial.
Evidence.
The state didn't do that, in my estimation. The state just took, okay, YSL did this, YSL did that, YSL did this. They put everything together. The only thing I seen that they did a little extra was wiretaps. Other than that, they didn't nice on other investigation. They kept saying to the detectives, like, thug boys mess them up. They said, so when you arrested him or you locked him up for this, was it a gang? Was it gang related? The police officer said no. Police officers did their job. They don't know they ain't gonna be just gonna be part of the RICO. So that's what I'm saying. They just took too many pieces and tried to make a RICO case. And if they would just did individual trials, maybe. But these guys have been arrested for most of their crime. So it's like you double dipping them. So you take on the RICO, that's why I like the RICO. You took the RICO and just started locking people up, giving them case after case. So when it came to Yak on the RICO, I think RICO may carry, 20 years? I'm not sure. But the Yak RICO, just let y'all know, they wanted him to get charged for RICO for a red bandana, a red shirt. I think the white t-shirt was red through it. Ain't no way I'm locking up a brother.
Instagram post.
Yeah, Instagram. Ain't no way I'm locking people up for what you wearing. And in the state, I told them, they came to the back, I think y'all was being a little entitled. Tell me all year long, don't wear green. Green is illegal. You know, you're in a gang, say gang's not illegal. You're wearing red for blood, this and that. Then I look over, they got green on, they got red on. So it's like, we can do it, but y'all do, ends can't. So
Everything we were saying, y'all.
even though I didn't make my judgment on that, and I told them some people would, it was a bad look. Because now you're showing
Same thing we
I
said.
can do this. It was really good look.
Yeah.
I agree with you on the RICO case. I think it is a dangerous thing to put on anybody. And I don't agree with RICO unless the federal government probably tries it. But you get to the state, you can lock up innocent people. And I hope that the judiciary system across the entire country can really pinpoint and look at how, and also prosecutors across this country as well, how do you try people under a RICO case? Because
Y'all, you know what question they didn't answer? I haven't heard anybody even ask this question. They did convict on one charge. They convicted Shannon on the gun charge. It would be interesting, and we only have 6 minutes left, so I doubt we'll get to it. But one question, YSL Jurors, if y'all hear this, if anybody has some pull with them, if they do more videos, maybe they should talk about why they decided to convict on the charge, on the gun charge. I mean, I think we can kind of deduce why, but it would be interesting hearing them say what their process of deliberation was for the one charge that they did convict on.
you can honestly lock innocent people up and put charges on them that shouldn't be on there. So walk away from this trial for over a year, I think that the judiciary system has to be revamped and have to go back and re-identify how you're going to try individuals under RICO. That's what
And
I
take it back a little bit more. Like Chick, I don't know his history. I don't know if he was telling the truth. He said he was at work. He's working. This happened 10, 12, 13 years ago. I'm from Chicago. There's a lot of people who grew up in the gangs, grow up, still got the tattoos. You can't take them off, can't afford to take it off. And it's still like a family. It's just what it is. I'm from the city. People my age still has the little tattoos and not do see my Chicago people. Some of them still do the gang stuff. They're not in it, but it's like family. We talk about it. It's like part of them, a fabric of it. So let's say chick clean up his life. I don't know if he did or not, brother. But let's say he clean up his life, he working. 10, 15 years later, want to take care of his family. And you lock him up because he was YSL on the RICO charge.
Well,
So now, right, but see, like now you put a felony on this guy, he had to take a plea deal, and now he may lose his job. He may lose everything he worked hard to attain and get rid of, and you just threw him right back at the bottom. And now this man may be out of work. You know what I'm saying? So, and I do that because your children, your nephews, yours, those can be our children, can be locked up on a RICO because the state want to be powerful. The law wants to take the power in their hands and prove something. Like I said, I'm going to say it again. They didn't get the jury that they wanted. They didn't expect the jury of his peers. Last time a person had a jury of their peers, he was pissed off. I'm going to say it right here, O.J. Simpson. After O.J. Simpson, there wasn't a lot of juries of their peers on high-profile cases. And they get what they want. So y'all got to stop what a jury do.
Yo, he kicking knowledge, y'all. I know 71 was gonna bring it like that, but he is definitely a voice of wisdom. Not saying that the other jurors are not. Everybody is very astute. I like using that word, astute. They're up on it. They're right there with everything. But 71's taking it to the next level about just how important jury duty is. And if people want to see justice, then we need to lend ourselves and offer ourselves to be on the jury. You know, that's an interesting take, something that most of us don't like to even be called for, but then we want justice to happen. And so we are really the agents of justice when we're on the jury.
And vote, even though I know y'all be like, oh, it makes a difference.
But even though some of us would consider ourselves their peers. Some people were not, that were made up of the jury. And at the end of the day, during the deliberations, whether we felt like we related to them or not, or whatever the case may be, we all just looked at the evidence. So at the end of the day, it was about the evidence. So even if, they could have, well, I'm not even going to say that. But yeah, we just looked at the evidence. So, but I understand what you're saying.
Right. So the verdict, when we was in there doing the verdict, there were some people, all they saw was they're bad people. Do I think they was doing shit they wasn't supposed to be doing? Absolutely. Now, like with Shannon, with the car, if that third car never showed up, Shannon would have been probably guilty. That third car, for me, I was looking through the evidence and all the pictures. I was looking through the cars. I didn't have this third car.
Pictures.
Third car, and their own witness, the coroner.
The coroner? Yeah.
The coroner, medical examiner, as they call it.
Yeah,
when she said he froze up and then that car moved, that was the doubt.
Yeah,
For me,
that's the same thing we all said.
Because who shot? Because you couldn't see the flash.
Okay.
So, could that car have been with them? Maybe. But it was just another reasonable doubt. I couldn't say he was guilty. And so y'all young people watching that, y'all never get this lucky. He was very lucky.
See? Look at that.
That third car.
Look at that.
Say,
this is wild,
the
y'all.
guilty verdict.
He breaking it down.
In my opinion. Because I was one of the 12. Right. But there were some people who said, he ain't getting nothing. Somebody said that in there. Because they figured he should get something. He ain't getting nothing. You hear that?
I was with
Oh, yeah, I went out. It was the real one, sir. So somebody said it.
It wasn't that privilege.
I'm sorry.
Because if we would have been, they probably was be. And
I told you they said that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's gonna be easy. 387 and 508 not
I'm
here.
glad they gave us the boot.
Yeah, I know I was not missed.
You were missed. You were missed by me.
Miss. It's good
Yeah.
to see you.
A mess.
No, they were missed.
So y'all went 49. I just, like her, she wasn't.
Hold on.
I was
Wait,
before
let me just start. Okay, so ever since this has been going down, we've seen that one other of our fellow jurors came out with an interview for 09. What are your thoughts on that? On 409 interview?
Oh shoot. Oh snap, y'all. They breaking it. They giving us a to be continued. Well, we'll be back and we will watch that one when it comes out, y'all. Y'all, I am just so impressed with all of them. I love it. Y'all. This trial turned out to be, once they got rid of Glanville and they got Judge Whitaker in there, this trial snapped into shape. The jurors were on point, and I doubted that. Still haven't, we've only heard from 3 deliberating jurors. So we haven't heard from 9 of them. So, from the 3 we've heard from, which the 3 who were in that room, the jurors were on point. But there are definitely some hints and some indications that some of the other jurors might not have been on point. When I say on point, I mean just they might not even followed everything that happened in the trial. And I would certainly like to hear from them. Judge Whitaker snapped the organization of the trial into form. Judge Whitaker helped to move the trial along as it relates to the time. And frankly, Judge Whitaker might have saved the whole Glanville recusal thing, might have saved Thug and them, y'all. Let's just keep it real. Glanville recusal debacle might have saved Thug and them, because though the evidence would have been the same, the treatment of the state would have been different. And Whitaker was putting the pressure on the state. She disqualified Detective Dennis. Who knows what he would have said if he had stayed on the stand. The state got on the back foot. I believe that Love was removed from the case, not removed, demoted or sidelined in some way due to the constant battles that she had with Whitaker. If you go back and watch the trial, people kept saying Whitaker's not doing anything. I had a feeling Whitaker wasn't doing enough. But if you go back and watch Whitaker constantly leaned on Love. Constantly. She was on the prosecution's neck. If you just go back and watch the highlights, she was constantly on their neck. Now, she wasn't taking action against them, but her word has such power. Her word, she's like a parent and they're like the children. So you don't always have to put somebody in timeout or take their phone or whatever. Just you're saying something constantly matters when you're the judge and this is the prosecution. She was constantly on them. And so she disrupted the state's entire way of conducting their case. And as good as it or bad as it may have been under Glanville, it was worse under Whitaker because of her no nonsense attitude, because of her pacing, because of her saying whittle down your witness list, because of her admonishing Love in front of the jurors, because of her disqualifying Dennis and saying they can't bring anybody else in to replace him. Whitaker was on their neck, y'all, from the perspective of a trial. She was on the state's neck. So, and this is comparing her to Glanville, okay? So I'm just comparing the two. And then we had jurors who I just take it that they weren't down with that whole thing. The whole case, the way it was put together, they were not impressed from the jump. Yes, y'all. Rev's in here to remind y'all, hit the like button. Please do hit the like button. Hit the like button, please. So the jurors are saying, look, we weren't down with the way this case was put together. We weren't down with the fact you were using lyrics. We weren't down with the fact that you slapped a RICO on what looked like a bunch of individual crimes. We weren't down with the way that Love was taking it personally, and we could tell. We weren't down with the way you were treating the witnesses, and we could see that in some cases, it almost seemed like you were treating them, you were using them, you were locking them up, and you were treating them in a way that looked like they were subhuman, or at least they didn't have the human dignity that they deserve. We weren't down with the fact that you built your whole case up to Vivarito, and she was like a failed firecracker. She wasn't even a bomb. She was a firecracker that didn't even explode properly. Anticlimactic, didn't bring it all together the way you wanted. We weren't persuaded by the closing arguments. So while we might have had some fear, trepidation, anxiety, people were really having anxiety, y'all. People weren't able to sleep. They were saying that on X, and I get it. People were invested. But at the end of the day, this case was going nowhere. Like, when you look back at what these jurors are saying, this case was going nowhere for a long time, probably months. There was probably a period of September, October, November, where this case was going nowhere. September, October, it ended in October for Thug at the end of October. And then when it continued, like, the case was already dead by that point. We didn't know. But by the time Thug took his plea deal, the case was dead in the eyes of the jury. I am surmising. I'm not saying that they said that, but it sounds to me, because most of the evidence was presented before that time, it sounds to me like they didn't say this. And I'm not saying Thug shouldn't have taken the plea, so don't get me wrong. That's not my point. My point is, by that late date of Halloween, these jurors seem to have already more or less made up their mind. Nobody could have known that. So I'm not saying what Thug should or shouldn't have done. That's not my point. My point is, though we didn't know, it seems like they were already over it, because we've been here for this long. Y'all haven't showed us the evidence. Yes, there was some evidence to show after Thug pleaded out. And you know what? There wasn't anything to get them over that hump. One thing I would like for them to talk about is why they did convict on the gun. I know why they convicted on the gun. I said it before the verdict came out that it's going to be hard to beat that gun. I gave all my reasoning. There were some people who disagree with me, but I stand by that. The gun was kind of low. It was low hanging fruit for the prosecution. It was the easiest thing to convince the jury of. It's the easiest thing to convince anybody of, because of all the reasons that I said before. But I would still like to hear them talk about it, because they did convict. So that was the one thing where they did give somebody some time, or not. They didn't give him time, because that's up to the judge, but they did put him in that position to get sentenced. So I would like to hear them talk about that. But overall, very, very impressed with the jury. Slim, I see you. I'm just on one of my rants. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Thank you for being so dedicated to all our people. Slim, Jason Hodges, you're up in here. Jason, why don't you go ahead and join, man? Why don't you join? It's like $3. Y'all, why don't y'all just join the channel? We up in here every day. It helps support us. It's like $3 a month. Come on. Less than a cup of coffee. Teo, you up in here every day. I did see you mentioned that Big Briss is the reason why this whole thing came down. When he shot the cop. I also had that thought. I don't want to comment on that. I want to acknowledge your statement, but I didn't look into it. So I think that very well may be the case, but I did not. I haven't looked into it, so I don't want to make a comment. But I have had that thought myself. Yeah, Jason's here every day, man. Come on, you could get in. You could get on for 3 bones, Jason. 3 bones a month, man. We're not even talking. It's not a day. It's a month. Unique. Good to see you, Rev. Our normal mods, besides Slim are not in here right now, but Andre, Miss Lily. Y'all know I'll be back tomorrow. This was good. This was very informative. I hope everybody is heartened and lifted up by what we just saw. We saw 5 people who I would consider peers, okay? I don't think you're going to get people who are in the same age range all the time. I mean, these aren't people like in their 80s. You know what I'm saying? They're still in the relative age range of the people who are accused, even though I know they might be, 10, 20 years older in some situations, but they're still what I would group as peers. I would group them as peers. And thoughtful people got it right. Juror 71 was certainly a voice of wisdom. Juror 56 was a voice of no nonsense and punctuality and process and logic. And, the ladies were all very astute. And I think they were also like, you can't sway us. You can't sway us easily with the bull. You know what I'm saying? Use that term. Excuse me. But yeah, so I feel good about this, y'all. I feel good about this. And don't forget, though, don't forget that they got a guilty verdict out of Miles Farley, who, as far as I can tell, did nothing wrong. They got a guilty verdict out of Young Thug, who the jury may have been willing to give some guilty verdicts on those drugs and guns, y'all. So keep that in mind. They showed with Shannon that they will vote you guilty when there's evidence, and all those drugs and guns were found in Thug's house. Like when we talk about Shannon, people are like, oh, well, it could have been look, we got to be reasonable. And reasonably speaking, when you find all the drugs and guns in my house, and you find me in that house, and you find my cars and all that and my jewelry in that house, it's going to be difficult for me to say I don't live there, at least part-time. When my cars are outside, when my jewelry's there, when I'm there, okay? So they probably going to vote guilty. I shouldn't say probably. It's a chance they would have voted guilty on the guns and the drugs for Thug. So, he pleaded guilty to that stuff. So, it is what it is. They would have probably found him not guilty on the RICO, though, but he pleaded no contest. But he probably would have got found not guilty on that. All these guys would have probably got found not guilty on the RICO. All the guys who were in this trial, they were probably going to get found not guilty on the RICO. Because if they say Shannon wasn't guilty, if they say Yak wasn't guilty, then they're probably all not guilty on that. So anybody who pleaded guilty, like Lil Rod, I think he pleaded guilty to the RICO. Lil Rod would have got off on the RICO. He was on his trial for one thing, if I'm not mistaken, which was the RICO. He was going to get found not guilty. Again, I'm not saying he should have made a different decision. He didn't have this information when he made his decision. So my point is not, he would have. I'm not saying that. I'm just going back and reinterpreting that, this entire trial was put together as a RICO trial. And frankly, everybody on the trial was going to get found not guilty of RICO because there was the same evidence for all of them. So essentially the one thing that binded, what's the word, y'all? Is it binded? The one thing that bound this trial together was RICO, and nobody was guilty of it. Think about that. Just think about that. The one thing that bound these 6 guys together was the RICO charge, and none of them were guilty of it. Now that's crazy. Y'all, with that, I am going to say thank you to everybody who has watched today. Please go. Let me drop the link. This is the link to part 2. Y'all go give them a like, please. Give them a like, give them a subscribe. This is them being the jurors that we just watched. You can find part 1 on their channel. And when we get back tomorrow, we will continue. Maybe we'll see part 3 by that time. Oh, yeah. Before we go, one more thing. Let me give y'all my X account. Please send me any information. Teo, if you want to send me something about Big Briss being the person who sparked the whole RICO thing, send it to me on X. Everybody, there's my X account. I just put in the chat. Other than that, y'all, thank you. Have a good What's today? Monday already? Wouldn't it be better if today were a Sunday? I really want it to be Sunday, y'all, like real bad. Anyway, have a great Monday, y'all. We will be back tomorrow. I'll see y'all then. Thank you a lot. Bye-bye.